Hi, Kumar and Andrew. So excited to be here. How'd you guys meet?
So I was consulting at a company in San Francisco, and my main contact, the person that I worked with the most, his wife went to NYU and studied dermatology with Kumar. And so I was just telling him that I wanted to do something in hair, and there was a specific treatment option that I was super interested in, and I wanted to iterate on that. And at the time, I didn't even really know that dermatologist is the person who deals with hair. And I actually think that's pretty common most of the time when I tell people that.
And then when you guys met, did you guys just decide right away to start a company, or how did that happen?
So when basically this person, Joyce Park, introduced us, we got on the phone, and I always remember the first thing Kumar said. He was like, "You're talking to the right person." And I was like, all right, well, we'll see in the next 45 minutes what you have to say if you're the right person. And so you could tell right away he was super enthusiastic on hair. And he was, at that point, he was like, I can help you with this, you know? Like, it was more like, I had no idea what his path was, but, you know, if you need a consultant or whatever, yeah, I can help you, you know?
Yeah, because when I first met Andrew, I think he had maybe in mind something different for what he wanted to do with hair. Mm-hmm. And we talked about that, and I think that's still a very interesting possibility to get into that particular area of hair. But I had also been thinking about maybe starting a practice and devoting something specialty practice to hair. But I recognized that online and teledermatology is the future, and bringing this expertise and access outside of New York would really be game-changing. I think that's what I recognized in what Andrew brought and the way he thought about hair. I recognized very early on he cared about hair as much as I do. Mm-hmm. And that was like a key criteria to check off. And then we just sort of fleshed out the idea a little bit more. One thing I really appreciated was that he was a quick learn with all the complexities and the nuance of medicine, that he picked it up very quickly. He saw the opportunity in this space, and we had a great working relationship very early on.
Yeah.
Sounds like the love of hair bond.
Yeah. So we basically met every week on the phone, at least once or twice a week. We'd hop on the phone for like an hour, talk through things. And then I came out to New York, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe 6 months ago. And then I went to a hair conference with Kumar. I was going to like support groups, and so it took a year. We had a lot of different ideas and angles of what to do. And then, you know, ultimately with timing, it's like he was finishing up residency, and it's like, you know, with entrepreneurship, you just need to start. So we picked a starting point, and now we're open.
And so what do you see for the vision for PILARIS?
I mean, we want to serve everyone. So we think a lot about accessibility. Right now, accessibility is like go to a place in person and see a hair specialist. We kind of want to change that, so we use hardware, use software. You know, first it's like how can we reach everyone in the U.S., and then, you know, globally, how do we reach those folks?
I really want to serve my patients, and I have seen that the struggle that they go through when it comes to their hair. You know, by the time they've seen someone like me, they've already seen 3 or 4 other physicians. Maybe they didn't have the time, or maybe not the experience with their hair condition, and it's very sad. And I want to be able to serve these patients better and give them the access and the opportunity to do something about their hair.
Why start this in New York City? Why is this the place to start the business and grow your business?
So I mentioned before, one, I love New York. New York is a great place. People are very open and direct. It's just the New York mentality. It's a great place to try new things. I think it's second to Silicon Valley in terms of number of startups. There's a lot of new ideas, new companies here. There's an energy about New York. And I think New York is the best place for hair. It's the international destination in general, but people come from all over the world for their hair care. The airports, the public transit just makes it very easy to get around. And then you have the specialty or the expertise in hair here. So I think it's a great place to get started. And then we can serve through teledermatology anywhere else in the country.
So why did you guys pick each other to start this business?
I can go first. I think for me, I've never worked with a doctor. My experiences with doctors have been, getting physical, right? So I think finding a doctor that's forward thinking. So like one thing Kumar said when we were chatting about him earlier was figuring out a way how. Like it's not if, it's how. And that's like very startup mentality, very Silicon Valley. And I think the medical field isn't always as open. And so seeing someone that is super open to new ideas, right, was pretty big for me. And then on a personal level, like we spend every single day together. So just being able to have fun and laugh and enjoy each other is huge. And then, in terms of character and values, like I think we both think about life the same way. We think about money the same way. We think about caring for patients and clients the same way. So there's a lot of alignment there where it's just, there's so much where you're like, we have to start this company, like it'd be crazy not to. So we were, the universe just brought it together where I feel like we just didn't even have a choice,
Yeah, I agree with everything what you're saying. I think that this is a problem that's bigger than one person. I alone, running a hair practice, I wouldn't be able to bring it out in the way that we are going to do now with this company, just alone. It's too big of a problem. We fundamentally agree that we want to change the way that dermatology is practiced, and that's a significant task. That's something that really requires Andrew's skills. He's taught me a lot about business, about the startup world, the Silicon Valley founding principles, and then really together we can do a lot more than each one of us independently.
Mm-hmm. And then for PILARIS, where do you see PILARIS 20 years from now?
Well, I think that allows us to say something crazy because it's so far away.
Yeah.
So I think first it's administering care to a lot of people all over the world. And then, ideally Kumar can get back in the lab to his science and research background, and he can work on new treatment options. I think from my view, a lot of the treatment options aren't created with adherence in mind or with the client in mind. They're created from the lens of what works. And so I think if he could take that lens of what's the easiest thing for someone to use, right? Or what are the reasons people don't use certain treatment options? What are the risks they're not comfortable with? If he can take that lens and go back into the lab and create a new treatment option, then in 20 years, who knows, maybe we're not talking about clinics, we're talking about the solution, the cure.
In 20 years, I think what we'd really like to start doing is focusing on cures. There are a number of conditions you may not be as familiar with, what we call the scarring hair losses, the cicatricial alopecia. We're seeing an epidemic really of a condition called frontal fibrosing alopecia, where you have a band-like loss of hair on the frontal hairline, and this is a permanent hair loss. We don't know what's causing it. Ideally, we need to start understanding the reasons why people get this, and then start coming up with new treatment options. If ideally we could regrow hair or at least keep what's there, I think that'd be a game changer, and that's ultimately, I think if our company can go in this direction, we're serving people, serving patients, and then start developing new therapies, that would be ideal.